Welcome back to another deep dive, and today we're gonna be taking a look at ancient Egypt
Oh, wow.
through the lens of a historical romance novel
Interesting.
called Cleopatra. And you guys shared some excerpts from this with us.
I'm excited to jump in.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's quite a wild ride.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
bet.
ancient prophecies, a little dash of the divine in there,
Uh-huh.
a love triangle, of
Of
course.
course.
All set against the backdrop of this huge power struggle for like the soul of Egypt.
Right, yeah.
'Cause
I mean, Egypt's always been a place full of,
yeah,
intrigue and those sorts of things.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting to see how historical fiction can like, bring those ancient times to life.
For sure. For
You
sure.
know, we're not just reading a dry historical account like a textbook or something.
Right.
We're experiencing it through the eyes of our protagonist,
Exactly.
this young man named Harmakis who believes himself to be destined for greatness.
Well, and speaking of greatness,
Yeah.
in this case,
Yeah.
greatness means becoming Pharaoh, no less.
No less.
Pretty high bar. And his journey is anything but straightforward.
Well, that's good.
Right.
That makes for a good story.
Exactly. So we start off the story in his childhood,
Okay.
in the Temple of Abalthus,
Interesting.
being raised by this high priest that he believes to be his adoptive father. But as he grows older, a secret is revealed,
Ooh, a secret.
that Harmakis is actually of royal blood,
Wow.
and this lineage has been kept hidden to protect him from danger.
All right, so right away we have this theme of like,
Yeah.
destiny versus free will.
Exactly.
Is Harmakis' life truly preordained, or will he have like, the ability,
Right.
the agency to forge his own path?
Exactly.
I mean, this is something that, pops up all over the place, even today.
Yeah.
How much of, our lives are determined, and how much do we actually have control? Right. And how much did ancient Egyptians believe in, free will versus just fate?
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's all tied in there.
So it's like he's got this weight on his shoulders from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's starting from a place that's,
Yeah.
not even,
Not even.
like it's a secret.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that feeling of this weight on his shoulders is only amplified by some pretty
Okay.
mystical events that happened in his early life.
Interesting.
So we have prophecies from this mysterious old woman.
Okay.
We have a near-death encounter with a spy that's working for Ptolemy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, do you think these events are meant to be taken literally, or are they more symbolic of
That is a good question.
the forces at play in Harmachi's life?
I think it's probably open to interpretation.
Okay.
On the one hand, these events
Yeah.
could be seen as literal intervention by the divine,
Right.
guiding Armachis toward his destiny. But then on the other hand, it could represent kind of the psychological pressures
Right.
and expectations that were placed on him from a young age.
Yeah.
Either way, they definitely contribute to this sense of inevitability surrounding his path.
Exactly. Like
Feels like it's all
yeah.
leading to something.
It's all leading up to something.
Yeah.
So imagine this Harmachis is sent off to the Temple of Anu
Okay.
for some pretty intense training.
Oh.
We're talking years of isolation,
Intense.
mastering hieroglyphs, astrology history, ancient rituals.
Wow.
It's like boot camp for a pharaoh,
That's a lot. Yeah.
but with this heavy dose of spiritual
And
development.
I think that's a key part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about acquiring knowledge and skills,
Mhm.
but it's about connecting with the divine,
Exactly.
understanding these like cosmic forces that govern life and death.
Right.
Even something like hieroglyphics.
Right.
To the ancient Egyptians, it wasn't just a writing system.
Right.
It was considered sacred, a way to communicate with the gods themselves.
Wow.
So,
That's really interesting.
yeah, so his training's as much about unlocking the secrets of the universe
Yeah.
as it is about preparing him for this political role.
It makes you wonder about the psychological impact of that kind of education.
Oh, for sure.
Years dedicated to a purpose he can't even pursue yet.
Right.
All the while knowing that he has this royal lineage
Yeah.
waiting in the wings.
Like just waiting for
It
him.
must have created some incredible internal pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the novel captures that tension really well.
Okay.
We see him grapple with impatience, ambition,
Right.
and this sense of longing
Right.
for this life that he believes is rightfully his.
Exactly.
But it's not just those external forces that are shaping him.
Right.
It's also his internal struggles
Yeah.
that really define his character.
And then we have a revelation that throws everything into even more turmoil.
Oh, no.
Amenemhat, the high priest, that he thought was his adoptive father,
Okay.
reveals the truth that he's actually Harmachis' biological father.
Wow, what a twist.
Talk about a game changer.
Yeah, so how do you think that revelation, impacts his understanding of himself and his purpose?
It's got to be a pivotal moment,
Right.
right? I mean, it kind of solidifies his claim to the throne,
Yeah.
validates his belief in his destiny,
Right.
but at the same time, it adds this layer of emotional depth
Yeah.
to his relationship with Amenemhat.
For sure.
Suddenly, their bond goes beyond, duty and mentorship.
Uh-huh.
It's rooted in blood and a shared history.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes you wonder if Amenemhat was always planning to reveal this truth,
Right.
or if circumstances forced his hand.
Yeah. Was he trying to protect him, or was this all part of the plan?
Right, was he grooming him for greatness all along?
It's hard to say.
Right.
I mean, that's what's so great about a good story.
Yeah.
It leaves us with,
More questions.
more questions than answers.
Answers.
And it makes us really think about the motivations of the characters.
Yes. Absolutely.
Choices they make.
Right.
And all the consequences that ripple outward from those choices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just as Harmashi seems to be coming to terms with this newfound understanding of his family and his future,
Okay.
there's another twist.
Another one.
He undergoes this profound ritual in the Temple of Isis.
Wow.
And the visions that he experiences are...
This is like a roller coaster ride.
They're pretty intense.
Oh, really?
We're talking a battle between good and evil, glimpses into the afterlife,
Wow.
and yet another prophecy about his role in restoring the ancient Egyptian faith.
It sounds pretty overwhelming.
That's a pretty overwhelming experience.
I bet, yeah.
I think.
Especially given everything that's already happened to him.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to remember the context here.
Okay.
Right? Ancient Egyptian religion was deeply intertwined with every aspect of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? From politics to personal beliefs.
Yeah.
I mean, the gods weren't just these distant entities. They were active participants in the world, influencing events and shaping destinies.
For sure.
So this ritual is crucial because it marks a real turning point for Harmachis.
Right.
He's no longer just learning about the spiritual world. He's experiencing it directly.
He's in it now.
He's in it.
Yeah.
So armed with this newfound knowledge and maybe a little shaken by these intense visions.
Yeah.
Harmachis finally enters Alexandria.
Oh.
And the novel paints a really vivid picture here.
Oh, does it?
Of the grandeur of the city.
Yeah. The
bustling crowds, the sheer scale of it all.
Wow. I bet that's a big change from where he's coming from.
It's a far cry from the secluded temples that he's used to.
Absolutely.
What do you think this shift in setting signifies for his journey?
I think it's like a symbolic transition.
Okay.
He's moving from a world of spiritual contemplation to this world of political intrigue and worldly ambition.
And that contrast is deliberate.
Oh, for sure. To really highlight the challenges he's going to face as he navigates these two, seemingly very different realms.
Exactly. And then this is also where he encounters Charmian.
Who's that?
Cleopatra's trusted servant. And right away, you get the sense of her intelligence, her sharp wit, and her influence over the queen.
Wow.
She's not just a servant.
Okay.
She's a player in the game of power.
I see.
What do you make of their dynamic?
Well, I think it definitely establishes a power dynamic right away.
Yeah.
Charmian is clearly more than just a servant.
Right.
He's a confidant,
an
advisor, maybe even a manipulator.
Yeah.
And Harmachis, despite, his royal lineage and spiritual training, he's still a little naive.
Right. So he underestimates her.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch out.
At his own peril.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like he stepped onto this chessboard where everyone is playing this complex game.
Right.
And he doesn't know the rules yet.
He's got to learn fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where the real danger lies.
For sure. Because while he's focused on fulfilling his destiny, everyone around him has their own agendas.
And they might not align with his.
Exactly. And those agendas will lead to a series of events that will test his loyalties.
Oh, no.
His beliefs. And his very sense of self.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait till the next part of our deep dive.
Yes, we'll have to wait and see how those events unfold.
To see what happens.
Stay tuned.
As we get further into Cleopatra, the story takes this... It takes this crazy turn.
Yeah.
Plunging Harmachis into the world of political intrigue and betrayal.
Yeah, it's like he gets caught in this current and swept away by all these forces that he can't control.
Exactly. And it all starts when he gets drawn into this plot to overthrow Cleopatra.
Wow.
And restore traditional Egyptian rule.
So basically get rid of Cleopatra and put like a true,
Yeah. True
just
Pharaoh back on the throne.
back on the throne.
Now remember that prophecy?
That Harmachis received during his training
Yes.
about restoring the ancient Egyptian faith.
Right.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
some factions within the Egyptian court
Okay.
see him as the key to fulfilling that prophecy.
Oh, so they're using him.
Right. They're using him as the
Ah.
instrument of their own ambitions.
Wow.
They exploit his idealism and his sense of destiny to manipulate him into joining their cause.
I mean, it's like a classic case of
Totally.
political manipulation.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Happens all the time.
Using someone's beliefs and aspirations to further your own agenda.
Like we see this even today, right?
Yeah.
Leaders using ideology or religion to rally support,
Uh-huh.
often for like not so great purposes.
Exactly. It really highlights the timeless nature of these power dynamics.
Power dynamics.
Right. The players might change. The context might be different.
Exactly.
But the underlying motivations,
The core,
ambition, greed, the desire for control,
they never change.
they never change
It's always there. Right.
underneath the surface.
So we have Harmachis being manipulated into joining this plot.
Okay.
But what about his own feelings for Cleopatra?
Oh, that's right.
Right.
He's got feelings for her.
That's got to complicate things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wasn't it?
He's torn between his loyalty to Egypt,
Right.
his desire to like fulfill the prophecy,
Yeah.
and his feelings for the queen.
Yeah.
It's the classic like,
Well, it's like a love triangle.
yeah, love triangle, but it's
That's
also like,
duty versus desire.
exactly.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It's like he's constantly questioning his own
Right.
motivations.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what's right for Egypt.
Yeah.
What's right for himself.
Uh-huh.
And if those two things are even,
And can they coexist?
can they coexist?
Right. Can you have both?
Exactly.
Tough questions.
And this conflict only intensifies as the plot against Cleopatra gains momentum.
Oh, boy.
So we have these secret meetings.
Yeah.
We have oaths sworn on sacred symbols.
Well, we even have the creation of this proclamation to
Yeah.
be issued upon her death.
They're really planning this out.
They are really planning this out.
Yeah.
I mean, it creates this sense of suspense.
Oh, for sure.
Like we're right there in the middle of this conspiracy,
Yeah.
watching it unfold.
Like you're reading it and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
it's almost like a political thriller.
I was going to say.
Right, with these whispers and dark corners and hidden agendas
Right.
and the constant threat of discovery.
You never know who to trust.
You never know who to trust. And then
Oh,
comes the ultimate betrayal.
oh no.
Harmachis discovers that he's been used,
I was afraid that was going to happen.
right,
Yeah.
manipulated by the very people he thought he could trust.
Always the ones you least expect.
He finds the body of Paulus,
Who's Paul?
a Roman officer involved in the plot,
Okay.
and it's a brutal wake-up call.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, what do you make of this betrayal?
It's a stark reminder that in the pursuit of power,
Uh-huh.
loyalty and morality
Yeah.
are often the first things to go.
Wow.
You know, people who want power will use any means necessary
Right.
to get it.
They'll step on anyone to get to the top.
Exactly.
And for Harmachis, this is particularly devastating
Oh, yeah.
because it forces him to confront his own naivete.
Yeah.
He's been so focused on fulfilling this prophecy that he's been blind to the machinations of everyone around him.
Right. He's been so focused on the big picture.
Mhm.
He hasn't
Yeah.
seen the details.
And maybe he's also blinded by his own feelings for Cleopatra.
Oh, that's true.
Right, he wants to believe in her. He wants to see the good in her,
Yeah.
even as all the evidence is stacking up against her.
Love can make you do crazy things.
And then, in a moment of desperation, he flees Alexandria,
Oh, wow.
wounded alone and facing the consequences of his actions.
I can't blame him.
It's a dramatic escape full of tension and uncertainty.
Yeah. Bet.
Do you think this flight represents like a defeat or a chance for a new beginning?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's a defeat in the sense that his
Yeah.
plans have failed.
Right.
His dreams are kind of shattered.
Yeah.
He's lost his place at court.
Uh-huh.
His standing with the people he once trusted.
Right.
But it's also a chance for a new beginning
Okay.
because it forces him to really confront his own mistakes,
Yeah.
his own bad judgment.
So he's stripped of his illusions,
Yeah.
forced to rebuild himself
From the ground up.
from the ground up.
New foundation.
And so he ends up in Cyprus seeking refuge
Oh, good.
from the storm that's engulfed his life.
Yeah.
And it's a dangerous existence full of hardship and danger.
Oh, wow.
He even faces a near-death experience during this violent storm at sea.
Oh, my gosh.
The book really emphasizes like the raw power of nature,
Yeah.
and it kind of mirrors the turmoil within Harmakis.
You can feel the wind and the waves like crashing over him,
Yes.
threatening to swallow him whole.
It's like nature itself is testing him,
Right.
pushing him to his limits.
Will he survive
Right.
this literal and figurative storm?
Exactly. Will he emerge stronger or will he be broken?
Right.
But he's a survivor.
He is.
He makes his way back to Egypt,
Okay.
but he returns not as this triumphant hero that he once envisioned himself to be,
Oh.
but as like a shadow of his former self.
Wow.
He's disguised. He's got physical and emotional scars.
Yeah.
His dreams of becoming pharaoh are just totally shattered.
So sad.
What a change.
Like a complete reversal.
Right. We started with this ambitious, confident young man destined for greatness.
Yeah.
And now,
Now he's just been
humbled by life
broken.
and stripped of his glory.
Exactly. So instead of palaces and power,
Yeah.
he seeks solace in the most unexpected place,
Where?
the Valley of the Dead.
Wow. What a choice.
It's a symbolic choice.
He really is.
Right? He's surrounded by death.
Yeah, literally.
Literally and figurative.
He's burying his past. He's buried his past, his ambitions, his identity.
Like he's become a ghost,
He's a ghost.
haunting the realm of the dead.
And it's in this state of isolation and despair that he takes on this new name,
What's the name?
Olympus.
Okay.
And he embraces a new path,
What's that?
healing.
Interesting.
It's like he's trying to find redemption by alleviating the suffering of others.
Right.
Maybe as a way to atone for his own past actions.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like a transformation.
Yeah.
He's no longer seeking power over others,
Right.
but power over suffering itself.
And his knowledge of ancient medicine and rituals, combined with his own experiences of pain and loss, make him a really sought-after healer.
Yeah, that
But fate,
Mhm.
as it often does,
always comes back.
has a way of intervening.
Right.
Cleopatra herself falls ill with this mysterious ailment,
Oh, no.
and guess who she summons to help her?
I bet I know.
Olympus.
Olympus the healer.
Unaware of his true identity.
The irony.
The irony is almost too much to bear.
I know.
Their reunion is shrouded in secrecy and deception.
Wow.
Harmakis has to hide his true self,
Uh-huh.
his resentment, his pain,
All while treating the woman who orchestrated his downfall.
as he's treating the woman who orchestrated his ruin.
That's got to be tough.
It's a powder keg
Oh, yeah.
of emotion,
Just waiting to explode.
waiting to explode.
You can cut the tension with a knife.
Every interaction is laced with tension, with all this unspoken history and all this unresolved conflict.
I bet.
I mean, can he really heal Cleopatra without first confronting the wounds of his own past?
That's the question, isn't it?
Right.
Can you truly move on without addressing what's happened?
And speaking of the past,
Yeah?
remember those prophecies we talked about? Well, they
Yeah.
come back into play in a big way.
Oh, really?
Cleopatra's illness, Harmakis' arrival,
Mm-hmm.
it all seems to align with these ancient predictions,
Wow.
adding this layer of cosmic significance to the narrative.
That's like the gods themselves are like moving the pieces on the chessboard.
It's like they're manipulating events,
Right.
pushing these two characters towards this inevitable confrontation.
That's intense.
It's a reminder that in Cleopatra,
Yeah.
fate is not a passive force,
Mm-hmm.
it's an active participant,
Shaping destiny.
shaping destinies
Right.
and driving the narrative towards its climax.
And that climax
Yeah.
happens in a big way.
It unfolds in this dramatic final showdown
Wow.
that brings all these threads together.
So we're finally going to see everything
Yes.
come to a head.
A clash of wills, a battle for survival,
Uh-huh.
and a reckoning with the consequences
Ooh. I don't want to miss it.
of choices made.
I'm on the edge of my seat already.
We'll have to delve into those heart-stopping moments in the final part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned.
When we left off, Harmakis was disguised as that healer Olympus,
Right.
treating Cleopatra for that mysterious illness.
It was such a tense situation.
So much unspoken history.
Right.
So much resentment.
You could feel it.
And it feels like such a pivotal moment, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like fate and choice are about to collide.
I know. And the novel just keeps building up the tension here.
Yeah.
All those prophecies hanging over everything.
Right.
The weight of Harmakis' betrayals.
Uh-huh.
Cleopatra's just like relentless pursuit of power.
It's like all these forces are coming together,
Really about to
leading to this, like,
explode.
the explosive climax.
And where does it happen?
It all starts
Yeah.
in the tomb of Menkaura.
Ooh.
Now, he was this pharaoh,
Okay.
shrouded in legend, and the book hints at this potent curse.
Ooh, a curse.
Cleopatra, of course, obsessed with treasure,
Uh-huh.
driven by her ambitions,
Oh, wait.
demands that Harmachis find, like, the hidden riches inside this tomb.
Well, of course she does.
And it's fascinating how the book uses this setting
Yeah.
to, like, highlight this clash
Okay.
between Cleopatra's worldview
Yeah.
and Harmachis' worldview.
Right.
She sees the tomb as just this source of wealth.
Yeah, another way to get more power.
Exactly, just another opportunity to consolidate her power.
Right.
He understands, like, the spiritual significance,
Right.
the respect and reverence that it demands.
Right. He's been trained in all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he tries to warn her
Oh, does he?
about the curse,
Yeah.
about the dangers of disturbing this ancient resting place.
I bet she doesn't listen.
She refuses to listen,
Classic Cleopatra.
blinded by her own desires,
Mm-hmm.
unable to see the consequences.
That's like textbook definition of hubris,
I know, right?
thinking you're above
Yeah.
the laws of nature or whatever.
That you can escape the consequences.
Exactly.
And in Cleopatra,
Oh,
hubris rarely goes unpunished.
that's right.
And tragedy strikes.
Oh, no. What happens?
Cleopatra dies inside the tomb.
Oh, wow.
And not from some injury or illness.
Okay.
The book really implies that it's from the curse of Menkaura.
Wow.
Like the very power she sought to exploit.
It backfired.
It becomes her undoing.
What a potent image. The queen in all her glory.
Yeah.
Brought down by something she couldn't control.
By forces outside of herself.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
even the most powerful people,
Mm-hmm.
they're still subject to fate.
Yeah, and Harmachis witnesses all of this.
Oh, no.
And it's just this moment of
I bet.
profound grief and despair.
Yeah.
The woman he loved,
Right.
the woman who betrayed him,
Oh.
the woman who represented both his, like,
Yeah.
salvation and his downfall.
It's all wrapped up in one person.
Oh, God.
I bet he's feeling so many emotions all at once.
It's so complex.
Yeah.
And the novel doesn't shy away from that complexity at all.
Well, that's good.
And there's this sense of inevitability to her death.
Uh-huh. Like it was meant to be.
Like it was meant to be, almost like it was foreshadowed by those ancient prophecies.
Right.
But there's also this sense of tragedy.
Right. All that wasted potential.
Wasted potential. A life cut short by ambition.
Yeah.
By her refusal to listen to the warnings.
Choices have consequences.
Yeah, it's a reminder that choices have consequences.
Right.
Even the grandest ambitions can lead to ruin.
For sure.
What about Harmachis, though?
Yeah, what happens to him?
What becomes of him after all this?
Yeah, where does he go?
He's left with just the shattered pieces
Oh, wow.
of his dreams.
Yeah.
So he goes back to about this,
Okay.
seeking solace, maybe forgiveness from his father.
Right.
But the temple is just a shadow of its former self.
Oh, so sad.
Its glory's faded. The priests are gone. It's
Right.
like a reflection of all the turmoil
Yeah.
that's happened in Egypt,
Uh-huh.
the consequences of all the power struggles and betrayals.
I wonder how his father's doing.
And Amenemhat is a broken man,
Oh, no.
blind, burdened by grief.
Oh, wow.
He's lost faith in his son, in the gods, in
Mhm.
the future of Egypt.
Wow, he's given up on everything.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, to see someone so powerful,
Yeah.
just completely crushed.
Crushed by events.
Yeah.
So Harmachis confesses everything.
How does he...
All his sins, his betrayals, his role in Cleopatra's death.
I wonder if his father will forgive him.
He begs for forgiveness, but Amenemhat can't offer it.
Oh,
He curses Harmachis, calling down the wrath of the gods upon him.
That's... Yeah.
It's just this powerful moment
Yeah.
full of raw emotion
Okay.
and the pain of this just shattered relationship.
It's like a final rejection,
It is.
cutting him off from everything.
And he's completely alone,
Yeah.
stripped of even the hope for redemption.
So sad.
So in his despair,
Yeah.
he cries out for vengeance.
Oh, no.
And his rage and sorrow echo through those ruined halls of the temple.
I wonder if anyone's listening.
And in that moment of utter despair,
Yeah.
something extraordinary happens.
Oh, really?
The goddess Isis speaks to him, but not with wrath or judgment,
Mhm.
but with compassion and understanding.
Wow, divine intervention.
Right.
A little bit of hope.
Yeah. She acknowledges his pain, his suffering, his yearning for vengeance. Right. She sees him.
But she also reminds him of the consequences of his choices, how his actions have rippled outwards, affecting everyone.
Yeah.
And she offers him a path of repentance.
Oh, okay.
But it's a long and arduous journey
Right.
of atonement and self-discovery.
So no easy answers.
No easy answers, no quick solutions.
Right.
It's a path of true redemption
Okay.
that requires humility, self-reflection, and a willingness to,
Yeah.
confront his own darkness.
He faces demons.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the novel ends
Yeah.
not with a victory or defeat,
Okay.
but with a sense of quiet contemplation.
Interesting.
He's left to grapple with his past,
Yeah.
the burden of his choices, and the long road to atonement ahead of him.
It's an ending that makes you think
It really does.
about fate and free will and
Yeah.
the consequences of our actions and
Yeah.
even the possibility of redemption.
And it reminds us
Yeah.
that the journey of life
Uh-huh.
is rarely straightforward.
It's messy. It is.
Yeah.
We stumble and fall. We make mistakes. We face hardships.
That's life.
But even in those dark moments,
Yeah.
there's always the potential for growth,
Right.
for transformation, for finding meaning and purpose,
Even in the midst of all that.
even amidst the ruins of our past.
I love that.
And that's probably the most powerful message of all,
It really is.
that the human spirit is so resilient
Absolutely.
that even when faced with adversity,
Yeah.
we can rise and learn and grow and seek a better path forward.
It's a message that applies to everyone.
It does.
Yeah. No matter who you are.
So as we conclude our deep dive into Cleopatra,
Yeah.
we'd like to invite you, the listener, to reflect on these themes,
Yeah.
to consider how they might resonate with your own life, your own experiences, your own journey.
Right.
What does this story tell you about ambition, love, betrayal, fate, redemption?
It's all in there.
We leave you with these questions and with the hope that this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, challenged your assumptions, and left you with something to think about long after the episode is over.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.